what?
Radio. So this is Matt Leonbauer, the local emergency manager.
Yes, how are you?
Yeah. So we'll just keep trying.
All right.
So you've got several trucks here, of course.
Yes, we do.
And what kind of radios do you carry?
Like two-way radios?
Yeah.
Yep.
What all?
We yell when we're storm chasing, and then for public safety, we have our public safety radios that talk to our local police and fire. VHF radios is what they are in Northwest Oklahoma. That's what we use. So we have those that we communicate with each other and them with, and then we have some amateur radios, ham radio. We operate on that channel as well to talk to a lot of the ham radio operators. Sometimes we don't have enough people, so we'll use that ham radio to get information from those other guys. And then these chasers, they'll use CB, they'll use ham radio. So we have CB radios in there too. So we actually usually carry 3 or 4 radios in our truck.
That's what I was noticing.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they're all different bands, different ways to communicate. And then if we have to go to Oklahoma City or Tulsa Metro, they're on a digital band. So that's a whole different radio entirely. So we bring a communication truck with us if we have to do a mutual aid deployment down there. And then I'll tie our radios with theirs. So we talk into that trailer, and then it comes out on their frequency. So that's an inexpensive way, because those radios are expensive. That's a cheap way for us to talk to them without having to put an extra radio that we rarely use in each truck. Yep.
That makes sense. So for amateurs that are just wanting to kind of, play with watching storms.
Yes, yeah, amateur radio and storm spotting is huge. That's a big part of their job. It always has been. So if you Google search, there's usually an amateur radio club. There's the Tri-State Amateur Radio Group here. And you can look them up online, Facebook, social media, or websites, and find those guys and hook up. And they'll actually get you hooked up with a class, do some training, do some shadowing with them. You get online and get your technician test, which is the very basic one, the lowest level, and take a test on that, and then you get your license and you can talk on the air.
Okay.
It's a cheap hobby, actually, to get into. It can be very expensive, like a lot of things are really cheap. I have a handheld that costs me about $25. That works fine. And that'll get you started if you're close and live in town.
Cool. And just general safety. I know you like helping the public be prepared for these kinds of things. What's some just general safety tips? Yep,
on the severe weather, the tornadoes especially is what we're kind of focused on today. The tornado chasers. Hey, just remember, I've said this many times before. I'm not worried about the tornado; it's the debris. So you protect yourself from debris. This new movie Twisters shows a good example of kind of what not to do. These chasers went under a bridge overpass, and they got sucked out and killed 3 of the 4 of them in one of those. So that's something you don't do. Try to get away from it if at all possible. But if you're at home, you get away from anything that'll throw debris on you that'll hurt you. So glass, put as many walls as you can between you and the storm. So you hear that on TV a lot, but nobody ever really explains it. But that's what you're doing, is trying to protect from any blowing debris. If you don't have a storm shelter, you can't get underground, obviously.
Right. And if you are headed to a storm shelter, then have some basic necessities with you as well, right?
Yes, absolutely, yeah. Make sure you get out of the shelter. We have a lot of rescues that we've done over the years of people where their house fell on their shelter and they couldn't get out. So I tell people, go get one of those cheap little bottle jacks and a 4x4 post from the lumber yard and put it in your shelter if you're underground. And you can actually put that up against a wall and crank out and get the door open. Gloves. If you have to dig out of there, you're going to need a pair of gloves. If the power goes out, you need a little flashlight. You need extra batteries.
Oh, shoes. Don't just slip
on
flip flops.
Yeah. Inside your shelter, if you've got one, you should have everything in there that you need. The gloves, extra pair of clothes, whatever snacks.
Some rubber boots.
Yeah, boots, whatever you need that you would need it. Just think of a worst case that would happen to your house, and you were stuck in there, and you had to get out.
Right.
And that's the easiest way
to
think
And if you don't have your own shelter, then, make sure that stuff's in your vehicle.
Have an emergency bag. Yeah. We have ours right next to the door. I've got 2 boys and my wife and I, and ours are actually in a cabinet near the back door. We've had to evacuate 3 times from my house from wildfires, and we're ready. It's got our insurance paperwork, a copy of our driver's license is in it, and then all of our basic necessities that we need to keep the boys and my wife taken care of. And if we lost our house, it's got enough to get our house back. Save a lot of time with our insurance and medical.
Right, yeah.
That's stuff you don't think about, but that's simple things. But there's also that kind of stuff that you need to think about.
Yeah, really important.
Yep,
really
absolutely.
Important. Definitely. Okay, thank you.
You bet. Thanks. Good to see you.